Hello, welcome to another episode of Pride in Parsippany. I'm your host, Mayor James Barberio, and my guest today is Ellen Sandman, our Business Administrator from Parsippany-Troy Hills, and our Controller, Ann Cucci. How are you ladies doing today?
We're doing great, Mayor.
Fine, thank you,
Great.
Mayor.
Great to be here in Parsippany.
Isn't it? It's a good,
Absolutely.
number one best place to live, and
Hey,
I got
that's
the
what
two
I hear.
gems right next
Pride
to
and
me to prove
That's right, Pride and Parsippany.
Well, first of all, I'm going to ask you what your description is and what you do for the town, you as the BA and then you as the Controller. So, Ellen, we'll start with you.
Well, as the Business Administrator for the lovely hamlet of Parsippany-Troy Hills, quiet little place where a lot happens.
Right.
Not so quiet, not so little. I'm blessed to be able to, as an administrator, be involved in every aspect of the community, whether it's working with the council and the mayor, or working with the health officer or the police department. It's a great opportunity to hopefully hone my skills and work for the betterment of all the residents of our community here in Parsippany. Mayor, it does run the gamut. I'm in charge of all the departments, working with them. And when we first met, I asked you, please I'll let you be the mayor, but let me be the administrator, and you have. And that lets me spread my wings and do the things I hopefully have done well. And as my first grade teacher said, Ellen, to my mother, you can always improve and do better, and that's how I live my life every day. I come to work with a sense of urgency and dedication and commitment to the residents and making sure that the water and the sewer and all the utilities, as well as all the services that we provide, whether it's at the community center or for the best of the people. So it runs the gamut. You name a department, I'm involved, and I'm happy to be so. Thank you, Mayor.
I'm happy to have you. Real quick before I go to you, Ann, I just got to tell everybody this story. It's important to know that I did a lot of interviewing for the business administrator in town, and Ellen comes to for an interview. We had about 28 questions to ask, and I know you know this very well. And I asked her the first question, and I'm all excited because I have my list of questions to ask. So she answers about 10 questions with one question. So I said, Ellen, slow down. You quite remember that, right?
Yes, I do.
And then
you actually told me to stop talking,
right,
which is very hard for me. It's those of you who know me in Parsippany. And I said, "Why, Mayor?" And he says,
"I got more questions to ask you, and if you keep going, I won't be able to ask any more questions." So I asked her the second question, and she answers the rest of them. I said, "Okay, the interview's over. You answered everything that needed to be answered." But what I will say is, once that interview was over, I knew right there and then you were the person. You answered those questions to the T and with detail, and 41 years of experience. That you definitely it showed and it shined.
I appreciate that, Mayor.
And I remember I got a phone call from a mutual friend of ours, Dr. Joseph Weisberg, who's a former mayor of Parsippany, former councilman, called me up and he says there's two individuals you should hire. I said, and who would they be? He said one was Barbara Shepard from Boonton Township, and the other is Ellen Sandman. I said, well, Doc, I got some good news for you. I'm going to offer the position to Ellen Sandman. And right there and then he called me a genius. Now, am I a genius? Probably not, but if that's the title he wants to give me, I'll take it for the day.
Absolutely.
And it's been one of the best moves I made, I have to tell you.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may, I just want to also say Dr. Weisberg and I go back a long, long time. And he knew me since the 70s, the early 70s, because I went to Jersey City State College, and he was my oceanography teacher,
Right.
professor. So there's no degrees of separation in my life, and I'm really happy to be here in Parsippany.
Well, it shows. Okay, Ann.
Me, I'm the Director of Finance, CFO, and Treasurer. I also just came about a year and a half ago to Parsippany, saw a great opportunity to come to the largest town in the county, and not only just be the CFO and numbers, but really be the Director of Finance and a partner to Ellen and the Mayor. It's more than just finance. We run the town. We make a difference, and all I ever wanted to do was make a difference. So I was very honored to come here. I come with a background more in the private and public sector, and also have a purchasing license as well. And the finance division is relatively new, a group of people, so we're all learning at the same time. My interview went a little differently. I didn't say a word.
We were both in the room.
They were both in the room, and they decided they had stories to tell, and I just kind of sat there waiting to see if I was going to be asked a question. I didn't get the 28 questions.
No, we didn't.
But we did see Anne also has a master's, a double master's, I believe,
Yeah.
right? And we looked at her CUME,
Right.
and her CUME was 3.9.
Something, yeah.
Yeah, it was like almost a
And
4.
the mayor, of course, as you know, he can tell a joke or two, and he's very humorous. And he said to Anne, "We almost didn't hire you because you didn't get another .02." And the rest is history. As you can see, we work hard, but we play harder because we know we need the joy to get us through every day, because there's a lot of challenges that we must meet. And the most important thing is not only our residents, but the people we work with, our employees. They're our family. And the mayor has, you know, as the father of
Right.
Parsippany, and that's a true compliment. Not only a statesman is our mayor, but he's the father of Parsippany, and that's telling, because a father will always take care of their children and
Thank you.
their family. So
Good.
thank you.
Keep talking. Oh, good.
No,
Very good.
and I also have a certification in finance as well, and that's what helps, I think, makes us the better team, because what we do is we talk out certain ways in which to finance certain things or fund certain things, and we're looking forward to this up-and-coming budget and working on some ways in which to modify and improve upon what we found, as well as what we've established in the last year.
Yes, we just converted a new accounting system a few months ago, and hopefully that'll be a tool for the town to use to be able to see where we are at all times, especially the employees. I want them to be empowered to be able to make decisions. I think the budget process last year, that was one of the things we wanted them to tell their story, and we're hoping to do that a little bit more extensively this year, to let the people who are really out there to tell their story. It's more than just numbers. It's telling what they want to do and where they want to see and envision their own department.
And I agree with that. Since I've been the mayor, we've been through 2 major hurricanes,
Right.
and we could have never survived them without our town workers, without our blue collar, our volunteers, all of our workers, white collar. It was just a team effort, and I always felt, and I stated this many times, that, you know, in Parsippany, we need to maintain what we have with regards to our workers, because we have some great workers in town, and, you know, we need to take care of them. And I'm proud to say that we came with 2 great contracts for both sides. It worked out very well. One was the PBA and SOA contract, which I felt was very fair for both sides, and we recognize the fact that these individuals work hard for us, our police department, and our blue collars. It was long and waiting, and I have to give, you know, Ellen, you credit, Ann credit. Of course, they always would come back to me after they would meet with the unions, and, you know, of course, I would be the final decision, but the fact is that I felt this was fair for the workers. They work hard, and when you don't know the kind of manpower and what it takes. Just an example, sanitation alone. You have a guy driving a truck and a guy picking it up. And at the end of the day, when they dump it, there's 14 tons there. That's a lot of weight to be picking up at the end of the day. But they do it because they love the community. And I have to tell you, I have a president of PBA, SOA, and I have the president of the Blue Collars that are very excited to be able to work with you. And they gave me a lot of accolades with regards to how you handle things. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mayor. One of the things I'd like to state for the record, and Ann experienced it firsthand, but it's that when you work with people and people know that it was a two-way street and it was fair, we have been told by people who know our blue-collar supervisors and the employees, they've actually said, we've always worked hard, but we want to work harder now. We want to do better because people recognized what we did, and they recognized it not just by a good negotiated settlement, but there were things in there that we put in there where we increased things like the shoe allowance, because we want to make sure they're also safe. And that resonated with them as saying, you know, they really care about us as a person, not as an employee, as part of your family, Mayor. And Ann can tell the story about a woman that just was at the
motor vehicle. I went to the DMV to get a copy of my license, and I had my ID from the GFOA, the finance officers, and it said Township of Parsippany, and she says, "Are you the Ann from Township of Parsippany?" I said, "One of them, but the Ann." And I said, "Yes." And she says, I said, "It depends." She said, "Well, my boyfriend works for the township, and I think sanitation, and we just really want to thank you. He doesn't have to, we're not going to lose our house, and maybe he can stop working his second and third job." So that was really telling to what we've been doing at the township and trying to make a difference.
And thank you, Mayor, for working with us too and giving us like the wind beneath our wings.
Now, I've told you this before, and this is something I think is funny. I can't remember the guy's name, but he says to me, "Why do you hire only women?" And I told you the story. And my answer to him on his question was, I hire the most qualified. And it happened to be two women that were the most qualified. It was nothing, I don't go based on gender, I base it on the qualifications. And you guys have more than enough qualification. What I love about the fact that you work with me now is the fact that I can be the mayor more so, and I can go out to the residents more, and I do that. Also, in my office, I have Michelle, who I do that with as well. And it frees my time up to really hear the needs of our residents, which is important, because remember, I came from the private sector as well. I worked in the finance, and I dealt just basically with numbers. As a mayor, it's different. People aren't numbers. They mean something to you, and you'd be surprised as a mayor the things that you see, and you give me the latitude to go do that and reach out more, and I appreciate that. Because one thing about me, and I guess I don't know if you notice, I like to be in control. And this has got to be one of the first times ever that I don't think, in all aspect, that I'm letting some of that control go to the individuals that should be doing it. So thank you for allowing me to do that.
Well, as I said earlier, and we did say it on a Friday, before I actually took on the job, I said, again, let me be your administrator, and again, I'll let you be the mayor. Not that I was a little presumptuous, but he understood what I meant. I mean, a mayor, especially a mayor in Parsippany who's a full-time mayor, needs to be out there. The folks love seeing him in ShopRite or in a local store or the spa, you know, and they know that they can come up and say, you know, I need a tree trimmed, or there's a pothole, or just to talk and say, how are you doing, Mayor? How's your family? So it's what makes Parsippany very special.
Okay, now we'll get to the questions. How challenging is this year's budget's going to be going into 2016? I know.
Honestly,
I know it's going to be challenging.
It's going to be very challenging, yes.
One of the reasons, and then I'll let the finance officer, again, we're partners in this, and the budgetary function is really a product of not only administration, but working very closely with the finances, because there are many different elements to the finance picture. You know, there's the capital as well as the operating budget. Because we're also coming off of a very, very tight budget from last year with a very, very, very small, if de minimis increase, it's very tight. And for those, not to get into too much of the detail, it's a living document that functions into a second year, and there's a product of, after 1 year of 2015, there's funds that have not been expended, and then it moves from the year 15 into the year 17, and that fund balance, you know, we're concerned about what it will be, because one of the visions that Ann and I have, and the mayor, with his blessing, is this town should be and will be a AAA rated town. It's not at this time, but it's very close. We've got great opportunities, but we have to finesse with a budget that is solid, delivers the services, but there may be some need for some additional increases at certain things. And you don't remember that the budget is not just one side. It's not just the revenue side. There's the revenue side and the appropriation side, but the revenue side is very important as well. It's two things. It's revenues, what we're bringing in, so we might want to increase some of the costs of doing business because costs do go up, and we have to look at our appropriations, delivering services and additional services to our people that they have requested certain things. But it's going to be very tight, but we're going to work very diligently with our department heads, division heads, the mayor, and with the council, and do everything we can to make sure that there's a fair budget. But we have to take a look at, again, both sides, the revenues that we're bringing in and also the appropriations. So, and I know it's going to be difficult to keep the rate as low as it was last year. Have you had some thoughts on that?
Yes, I have. Again, the budget's a living document. It's not just one-sided. It also continues to evolve over time. It's not a one-year document as well. It continues into the next years. And with that in mind, we have to be aware that what you do this year affects the following years. In addition, we have assessments. It's a very simple calculation, taxes. It's the amount to be raised divided by your assessed value of the township. Fortunately, we have a great tax assessor, Dan Cassis, and we're adding some assessments for the first time in many years. As you all know, the values of the homes have dropped, and now we're beginning to pick up again, which is terrific for everyone involved because that's basically the denominator of this equation. With that in mind, we can't, in order to be able to provide the services, we need to slowly increase that number. Things happen, expenses happen. In addition, we have revenues. If we keep revenues static and certain budgetary things change, we need to raise numbers. I mean, it's just the way it is. However, we do look to shared services. We look at many different creative ways to increase revenues or reduce appropriations. So there's a lot of sides to the budget. And we ask that everyone be
open-minded to what we're going to present and that too. And one of the other things is we're also going to take a look at our debt structure and some, as you know, Mayor, the sewer utility and the water utility are doing very, very well, the sewer utility in particular. And we want to make sure that, again, caring about the future and care about the residents, that will be here 5-10 years from now, we want to do some of that, pay down the debt that we have in the sewer utility, and we're very much in the position to do so, and we need to address it sooner because we don't want to, our legacy doesn't want to be okay, it's going to be into the future. No,
right.
As Ann says, and as you have often said, Mayor, it's every year is important, and every year we want to make a difference that we leave the community far better than we found it, which was in good shape to begin with. But that's our role and that's our mission.
What I find impressive, I mean, I've been the mayor now 6 years, but it seems to get better every year, the tax collection rate.
Yes.
What's it, 99 point?
It was
99.34%.
It's at 99.15 as of this morning. We still have a few more days.
Yes, right.
And
so keep the taxes coming.
Keep them coming. Yeah.
No, people are very good.
They do a great job in the tax collecting department.
Yes.
And people come and they pay, and it's great.
And I'm glad that Ann mentioned the tax assessor because we do have a great tax collector, and he does a good job. But the tax assessor is someone that has to be, really out there
right.
and work
Creative
closely with our town attorney, so that when people do come in and look for a lesser assessment of their properties, as you know, we have tons of commercial property, and they work very, very diligently with the people that are coming in and looking for that, and then oftentimes they settle before they have to go to the court issue.
And he settles forward.
Yes.
He doesn't settle backwards. And what I mean by that is he'll make the agreement that, look, granted maybe you had a higher assessment that you should have, but let's go forward with it. And that saves the town tons of money. in the way that he negotiates his
Because
deals.
as you know, the budget would be structured on that, expecting
Correct.
that assessment to come in. So by not lowering it in that year that we've anticipated, this is how much we were going to collect, he pushes it into the next year
Right.
with a look towards, so that it doesn't hurt going forward. So he's very talented, Mayor. And I know he's been here a very long time.
Yeah, he is talented, Danny.
Very
And,
talented.
I mean, we do have a lot of good things going in Parsippany. You know, you think about it, we're the hub of Morris County. We're the third largest corporate center in the state of New Jersey. I think it's 27 million square feet of office space in the county, and 13.5 million of that square footage is in Parsippany. Now, you've worked with me on several things. We have the UPS.
Right.
We had JF that came here. And hopefully the Stanberry project, and we have so many good things coming down the tubes, which would decrease taxes once you get
Yes.
these great ratables.
Yes.
Parsippany, and as you know, you've been here, is ranked the #1 best place to live. And one of the things that they did say in that interview I had with them was that we didn't have a town center. So Parsippany is looking forward to doing that somewhere down the line, you know, if it works out for them. But I have to say, though, working with the both of you has given me more of an opportunity to go out and seek that type of economic development we need here in town.
Right.
So
I would say that we're happy to do that, because as the assessor has said and stated to the rating agency, the assessment values, not just this coming year and the next year, he believes they're going in the right direction for the next couple of years. So we're very pleased with that, and very proud to be part of that, and know that that will be part of the scenario going forward.
Well, I'll say this, and since you've been here, both of you, I have the town, the workers are so, you know, pepped up. And I know me, I didn't like to have jeans on Friday, and I got somehow talked out of that. But that's okay. I mean, that's good, because it makes them feel important, our workers. And when they work better. I mean, when they have that feeling.
Well, I think part of with the jeans was there was also a donation to
Yeah,
a cause.
Yeah.
So,
Right, to a cause.
So we we did it as a family, and a family says, yes, you can do this, but are you going to give back? And they certainly did. So.
And I will say this, like we have a lot of civic associations in town that you deal with on a day-to-day basis, as well as I do, but they seem to be happier, and things, they're being heard. And they were heard before, but you really take a lot of you. I got to say this, Ellen, and Nan, both of you put a lot of heart into this job. You love what you do, and I think you treat Parsippany as if it's where you live anyway. So that makes me feel great.
Well, we spend the hours here,
Yeah,
so
quite frankly.
outside of sleeping.
And they work. I got to tell you, I mean, I go in on weekends, and they're there every weekend. Sometimes I want to drive by and say, "Why don't you just go home and be with your family?" But that being said, I want to thank you for being on the program today.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having us.
Oh, anytime. Thank you. I'll see you in
Thanks
a little
for
while anyway. But thank you.
We'll go back
And
to
also,
the
I want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of Pride in Parsippany. Until next time, have a great day, and God bless you all. Thank you.